How's it going? How you guys doing tonight? I was just bored, so I figured I'd come up here and see if anybody wanted to chat. How you guys all up to? It looks like it's definitely going to be Kamala Harris, so no more open convention talk. Everybody's pretty much endorsed her at this point. Anybody bored want to come up and talk? Oh, I would love it if she arrested BB tomorrow. That'll make me excited. I'm doing good. Doing good. Played my D&D game earlier. It's been a good day. How y'all doing tonight? If anybody wants to come up and talk, we can. I don't go to the gym. I just work in a really hot kitchen. Thanks. I enjoy making content. I used to just complain to people I worked with and random people. Now I have an audience to complain to. Yeah, I'm old. This is my childhood right here. Oh, I got a guest request.
What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
Good content, dude.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
How's that projector? Is that pretty good?
Yeah, I was actually impressed with it. Earlier I had it set up to where I was laying on my bed. I had it set on the ceiling.
I had a projector probably about 2013, 2014, 11 feet by 6 feet on the wall, and you could see everything, dude. On GTA, the planes suck.
Oh yeah.
My buddy did a barrel roll, dude. I almost lost my shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. The autofocus is really good on it. Like, if you accidentally move it or anything, it just like recenters itself.
That's good. Okay. How much was it?
I think it was $200.
Dang, mine was 7 or 8.
I know they've come down in price so much.
Oh, this one was a ViewSonic, had the HD, the VGA, and all that to hook the computer and stuff up too.
Yeah.
How does the sound work? How does the sound work in it? What's the sound?
The sound comes out of the box itself, and it sounds okay, but it's kind of weird because it's depending on where you have the projector. But I hooked it up into my sound board, and it's my sound board for my TV, and it seems to work fine.
I don't know. Yeah, I would just hook mine up to my. I had an Onkyo stereo.
Yeah,
But no, yeah. I think. Do you know who Abaz Cuppy is? Have you ever seen him on here?
No.
He goes by Dionysus. Yeah, me and him were talking today, and he was like, "Yeah, wouldn't it be great if she arrested him tomorrow, and then at 8:00 when Biden talks, the dude goes away."
Right. Yeah, it's been what have you been up to this week?
Just been surviving the heat down in Phoenix. Did you see Lake Pleasant? Did you see what happened down here at Lake Pleasant?
No, I haven't.
The monsoons came in, sunk 4 boats, and sent all the rest of them onto the shore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what? Today we had Texas and Yellowstone, right? Did you hear about Texas and Yellowstone?
Yeah, everything's getting crazy. I'm waiting for the next hurricane to hit where I live.
Where are you at? You're in Georgia or
North Carolina.
North Carolina? All right.
Yeah, the last bad one we had was Florence, and it took our power out for like 2.5 weeks. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen again.
Dude, has anyone checked out Houston? Do they have power? Remember there was like a week, and then like linemen were getting attacked, and dude, there's so much stuff that who knows what the heck is even real or not anymore. Texas had the earthquake, had an earthquake, flood, tornadoes. Dude, I tell you, God hates Texas right now.
Yeah. I think it's just the climate change is finally getting to the point where nobody can deny it anymore.
Oh, no. How's the air over there? Like, how's the sky look?
Normal. It's very humid.
Dude, it's gray sky over here. That's how much, like, it's just all gray, dude. There's no blue.
Crazy. It was pretty blue gray. It was like 90 degrees today. It's too hot.
Got you beat, 111.
Yeah, screw that. If I was you, I'd be moving north.
I'm thinking about going back up to Nevada, so.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week.
Dude, it's been a crazy 20 years, man. Hillary Clinton.
You ain't lying.
and then Kamala stepped down, and then Hillary be president, and then Cheney's gonna come in, and it.
I'm expecting for the. You know how there's always an October surprise.
Yeah.
Well, October surprise is usually the craziest thing that happens in the election, and the only thing I can think of that can be crazier is either Joe Biden or Donald Trump has a heart attack in October.
Well, Biden will be gone by then, so Biden will be gone. I think he's supposed to be signing off tomorrow, and then Kamala's going to take over. So who knows?
I don't know if he's going to resign as president, though.
Oh, he's just stepping down from the campaign stuff. Okay, I didn't know if he was. I didn't know if he was. Already. Okay, I didn't know if it was. Yeah, you never find any information about it. So. Yeah,
I don't think he's going to resign as president because he went back to the White House today and he's supposedly over COVID now.
Right. But him and Kamala are meeting with Bibi tomorrow.
No, Kamala's refused to go. Did you see that?
Yeah.
She refused to meet with Bibi, so that makes me very interested. I'm hoping she comes out hard against her.
Dude, and then put Taylor Swift as VP?
Oh, the Republicans' minds would explode.
Dude. Or put her as press secretary, dude. Oh.
Right.
You have to see her every day.
Jon Stewart as press secretary.
Oh.
Give me Jon Stewart as press secretary.
That would be hilarious.
I don't think Trump, somebody just asked in the comments if they think Trump will replace Vance. I don't think he can. After the nomination, that's who's going to be on the ballot.
Yeah, he screwed up.
Yeah,
like normal.
Yeah, I think that.
Dude, that RNC was a big blowjob to Israel.
Oh, it was so terrible. And then the whole Hulk Hogan thing was just so bad. It was so bad. I was like, wait, this is an actual political party in the United States?
Yeah, right.
Could you imagine showing that to Reagan?
Dude. Now, would Reagan be impressed or disgusted? Because was Reagan for them or was he not?
He would be disgusted, I'm sure, just because of
You think?
Just because of the chaos of it, like the look of it.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't have a problem with the Christian fascists taking over, but he would have a problem with the look of it being a clown show.
Right.
And
wearing that tan suit.
Yeah.
Dude, he's always been a clown though. That was his thing. He was a clown. Like no one ever took him seriously.
Right. Yeah.
And Kid Rock, jeez, man. Had one hit, then freaking railroad off that forever.
Did you see the video of his latest Kid Rock's latest show? It looked like a high school gym that was a third full.
You know what's crazy that nobody's talking about is when the primaries were going down for the Republicans. Dude, there was only maybe 0.01% voting, dude. There was what was it, Iowa? They had 100,000 votes, and there's 5 million people there. The next state was 6 million people, and there was 100,000 votes, 500,000. What?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's the number of and if it's a turnout election, I think that the Democrats just won because there's more Democrats across the country, and the few that didn't want to show up was just because of how old Biden was, and Kamala's young enough to where I think that's going to ring out enough.
Well, and it's honestly just too exhausting to even talk to people about a third party. They don't care about a third party. They're too brainwashed to the red-blue game.
Yeah, and until we get ranked choice voting in every state, the third party is just kind of pointless.
Oh, we need real voting. We need actual real voting, not this
First
clown show that they have. But dude, I'm thinking about doing this. I've got a little Suzuki Sidekick, little 96 Suzuki Sidekick with speakers all around it. I'm gonna go up to the polling places when they all come around. I'm gonna play sheep sounds. I'm just gonna go and sit there and just crank it up on the stereo.
I think if we could get ranked choice voting in every state, we could change the political landscape massively. Because most people, I think, want to vote third party. They're just afraid of the other guy winning.
Right. Well, they're afraid that they'll vote, but no one else will. You know what I mean? Like it's been basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm betting that Kamala's going to take this now. If we need a blue-collar party, that would be nice. Both of them try to claim to be the blue-collar party, but neither one of them are. Although, I can't really complain too much about what Biden's NLRB has done. It's actually been pretty pro-labor.
Oh, the only thing I think just Biden is just with the wars.
Yeah, which is one thing I have hope
we're literally
Kamala's because she's already called for ceasefire, so.
True.
And she used to be for Medicare for all, President Kamala said. Her Senate voting record is very, very far left. I mean, I would argue as far left as Bernie Sanders.
Well, that was just 2018 to 2020. Wasn't that just during his thing or whatever?
Well, she
only did one term or something like that.
Yeah, I think she was a senator for 3 or 4 years. But her voting record, like I said, was straight up and down with Bernie Sanders. And when she ran for president, she went farther right, I think, trying to appeal to centrists. But I'm kind of hoping she goes back to her roots. Back out as
it was amazing how Tulsi took her down, and then Tulsi left and went straight to the right wing talking points. That was amazing watching her do that.
Yeah, Tulsi's always
go from left to right, dude. That was hilarious to watch that.
Yeah, and Tulsi's always been a grifter. There's money in being a grifter.
Yep, always is. Why do you think we don't have any money?
Right. Think about how much my TikTok could explode if all of a sudden I found Christ. Either
way, if you pick the blue team or the red team and you just start doing heavy stuff, it's that's just amazing. And any deviation from that is just a nothing. It's
well, yeah, it's the number of people who give me crap every time I criticize Biden, and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to people and tell you his brain's working when we can all see it's not.
And you know what? We wanted this, people. We knew he was demented when he was running last time.
Facts. And I tried to get everybody to vote in the primary, and no one would listen to me. And then the Democrats just canceled the primary in my state, and I still wrote in Marianne Williamson.
Isn't that amazing? They came up with 2 different nuns. They had uncommitted and then none of the above for the red and blue team. That was amazing. Right. It was amazing. They had none of the above for Nevada and then uncommitted in California. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
You can't even do none right.
Well, it's like every state has a different word for independence. Like here in North Carolina, they call us unaffiliated.
What?
Yeah, we're unaffiliated. But it's the nice thing about North Carolina is when I go to a primary, I can choose which primary to vote in if you're unaffiliated. A lot of states don't let you do that. So like,
well, that's the way a primary should be.
Yeah, like because otherwise that's why you end up with such far right people on the Republican side is because the only people who show up to their primaries are the far right people. And then it's like, well, you got a far-right Christian fascist or whoever the Democrats put up.
Right.
Yeah, we got to get rid of all these old people in office, so I'm just glad Kamala Harris probably knows how to, download a PDF file.
It's just funny. It's just funny that it shows the intelligence of the country. Like we're literally have the oldest, and they're 95% reelected rate. Like it literally shows the intelligence of America, dude.
So much of America just doesn't pay attention to politics at all.
No. I stopped having a vehicle for a little bit, and I just started taking Ubers everywhere. And dude, nobody knows anything. Seriously, nobody knows anything. They're all drones and bots just trying to survive.
I try to tell people it's like politics in America is more about vibes than it is about policy. Because most people can tell you 5 policies that their favorite candidate is for.
Oh, hell no.
It doesn't matter who your favorite candidate is. It doesn't matter if you're a Biden supporter or a Trump supporter. They can't name 5 policies that person is actually for. And it's like, so really you're just voting on whether or not you like the way the person sounds.
High school. It's high school.
Yeah.
It's basically high school popularity.
It's so bad.
I'm gonna give you recess forever. I'm gonna make lunch counter all day long.
Exactly. Like if it was for policies, everybody would vote Green Party. Like as you look at the polling of the American people, they agree with the Green Party's platform by 70%. But nobody will vote for them because they're not one of the main 2 parties.
Well, that and they don't even try. Like, dude, they've had 8 years to build on something meaningful, and they haven't done anything. I mean, dude, all Trump did was copy Jesse Ventura doing rallies. All you gotta do is do rallies. That's the main thing you gotta do is rallies.
People like the feeling they get of being in the same place and cheering.
The engagement.
The same thing. Yeah, it's
the engagement.
just like going to a rock concert or something. You leave with that pumped up energy.
Yep. Right.
I saw Kamala had her first rally today, and it was huge.
Really?
Yeah, her rally today was bigger than I've seen Trump have in the last 4 years.
Where was it at?
I think Michigan or something. I can't remember. Maybe it was.
Okay.
I just know the audience was huge.
It is funny watching all the blue, no matter who's just say, "Oh, she's a woman, vote for her." Like, no, that's not what you base your voting off of. Like, you don't base your voting off her being a woman.
No,
or a man. The man, woman, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm going off of her Senate record is what I'm hoping for, because her Senate record it's fantastic. Like, it really is. If you look at her Senate voting record, she's co-sponsored Medicare for all.
I just don't like her DA record. Her DA record, she was pretty nasty in California, locking up parents and shit.
Absolutely. But
so that's where her DA stuff has got me a little bit. So
I agree, but it's funny to me to see the conservatives attack her on that, and I'm like, your guy thinks that the Central Park 5 are still guilty when they've been exonerated.
Right.
Like, you can't attack her.
Is there one? There's one running, I think. Isn't there one running in New York? One of the 5 is running in New York, I think. I heard
really?
that.
I hope you
I think I heard that. Right?
This person in the comment doesn't know about her DA. When she was the DA in California, she wanted to lock up parents for their kids being truant.
Wouldn't let them out.
People of color in jail for weed crimes. She did a lot of bad. But I will agree with that. She did change the 3 strike law, which is terrible in California. So I will give her credit for that. But she's a cop and ACAB, so
Yeah, pretty much. I say a cat, so I don't do the B. I do a T.
Oh, if Taylor Swift shows up to the DNC convention, it's over. Like,
It's over. Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
I hope she shows up to the DNC convention because if she shows up, it'll be the most watched convention in the history of the world. Like, just a fact. Yeah. And beyond that, I mean, she'll just the number of young women she could bring out and young men she could just bring out to vote, it will just destroy it. We might win 40 states, especially if during like early voting she puts on Instagram every day, go out and vote. I mean,
right?
Because I try to convince everybody to go to early voting. Early voting takes like 5 minutes.
Dude, it's amazing how much they've ruined that process. Even though it was flawed to begin with, it just kept ruining it for a while.
Yeah, well, they've tried to gerrymander the straits so bad.
Well, they closed down all the polling places, so you only have a couple in certain areas, and it's like, jeez. It is funny to watch the Republicans think that there was actually an actual election. Like, there's actually an election.
Right.
Should be back on tour last concert early November.
Right. I guess somebody else wants to jump up. We'll see how they want to talk about it too. Bring a couple of people.
Come on, let's get it freaking thing on.
Maybe not.
You got 28 people watching. That's good. Destiny, what's up?
How's it going?
Good. I'm good. You?
Okay. How old are you?
32.
Oh, okay. Because if you're under 18, you're not allowed to
my little
be
buddy's
on the
here.
lines.
No.
Yo, Technical, what you got? Technical has a question. Technical one.
What's your question? Yes, I'm sure.
Go out. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of Swiftie videos pop up on my feed, which is weird because I don't follow any of them.
Dude. Swipe quick. Boot him, he's underage. Boot who? Who's underage?
All right. Am I still here? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, I'm Des. Do you remember like 2 years ago that girl on TikTok that drove on base and smoked pot?
Yes, baby.
No.
Well, that's because it was deleted like literally the next day or maybe that night. I can't exactly remember, but yeah. I've been here a while.
Yeah.
I've been here since 2020, but this is like my 10th account, and two phones are IP banned.
I haven't, this has been my
I've had
original
like 4
account.
phones since then, but
Well, during 2020, I was going
good for
hard.
you.
I was going
Wow.
hard at the knuckle draggers, the Republicans, and they don't like being. They like to report and block a lot.
Yeah,
oh,
I've-
yeah, they
I've had
do.
my
They're
account
like
on-
trolls.
They're the
in
original cancel
themselves,
culture. Well, they're the original cancel culture.
Yeah. Right. Well, except now. Now they're canceled.
Right.
right.
They don't
We're
like
all,
it
we're all
now.
done with their crap. That's why they're putting
Well-
such a thing to it. They didn't like it when it's done to them. They don't like it when it's done personally to them.
Oh no, and now they're set up to lose now. And no one ever said anything like this was ever gonna happen. No, but we can predict what's gonna happen now. She's gonna
Yep.
win. It won't be.
Oh
It
yeah,
won't be him.
Oh, she's gonna
yeah,
put the Swifties out and it's over.
yeah. Just
Oh yeah.
the amount of energy behind the Democrats now, like, because there's always been
Yep.
more Democrats. It's just getting them to show up to vote, and the fact that
Right.
everyone's not like dreading voting for the 80-year-old man now that's enough to sort of carry her. I would be surprised if she wins like 40 states. Because
I'm in
people hate
PA.
Trump.
I'm in PA, and it was just a big swing just for her to get, like, for him to bow out, honestly. Like,
Oh yeah. Everybody I know is just, and I live in North Carolina. That's kind of the same state. I mean, we have a blue governor, and the number of people I've heard that are just like so thankful that Biden's not at the top of the ticket now.
but that never was ever going to happen. It never happened. It was never written in any history book ever that anyone that high up ever bowed down. Ever.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I'm actually impressed with Joe Biden for doing it. But did you see the conspiracy that he didn't actually send it? One of his aides did.
Oh no, did you hear the conspiracy that he died like 30 days ago?
Yes.
That's a new
And then
one.
they were using one video or something where it was like Hunter behind him, or it was blinking behind him, where he's like
I don't
touching his
know.
thing. Dude, you look like a robot, dude. You look like
I
a straight up
don't
robot.
know. Yeah,
Oh
well,
my
and
God.
they also, they probably would have been they could have kept Biden as Democrats if they would have fed him cocaine during the fucking debate against Trump. If he would have been on Adderall at the least, he would have been like 10 times win, win, win. Nobody would have cared. He could have died the next day. The Democrats would have still won. It could have came out either way, like bow down or die of Adderall. I don't know.
Yeah. I was shocked at the debate performance. But, I mean, I've been trying to convince people to get to the Biden needed to drop since he got elected. I mean, the dude was too old when he got elected the first time.
I'm like
And
that
he,
crazy person that has been asking these questions like during the primary, before the primary. I'm like, why is this even like our options? And then I got sent somewhere because I drove on base apparently and did something I wasn't legally allowed to do federally. And yeah, anyway.
yeah, I'm glad
But
Biden
my
dropped out. I think this
my
would be much
DOD
easier.
But the DOD clearances are still valid until next year, by the way. Just for, reference.
And I like that Harris can come out hard against Trump in a way that Biden couldn't, because
Oh my
Biden's in
gosh.
charge of the Department of Justice, where Harris can really just hammer him on his felonies.
I would just love to have her come out in her natural hair, like no hot curling iron, just wake up with bedhead, no makeup, come out in like your pajamas and be like, this is me, bitches, here I am. She would win. She would totally win.
Hi, Sarah, how you doing?
Hello. I'm on my
Hey.
account. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to see you live because I harass you so much in comments because every time you talk, I think of something and you say something else and I add another comment. It's really funny.
I try to answer comments, but
You
I
do.
get a lot of them.
Yeah, we go back and forth sometimes. So I just wanted to give you guys my perspective on Harris. I'm a wrongful conviction advocate, and I've been an activist for 28 years. I've been in wrongful convictions for 22 years. And the one thing that people ignore when it comes to Vice President Harris is they focus on the one-parent truancy thing. And let's be clear, that happened nationwide. That wasn't just California, and it wasn't just her in her district, and she did end up changing that. But what people forget is not only is she a woman that got into the prosecutor's office in the 80s, she's a Black woman that was able to do that in the 80s. And I feel that she plays and walks the line just right so she can get into higher positions and change things. Because when you look at what she did as a district attorney and as an attorney general, she actually addressed Black men's issues in California. No Democratic, no party, no presidential candidate has ever addressed the issues that only occur to Black men, like the mass incarceration, the targeting, the biasness. And she's very passionate about that. Now, when she called herself the top cop, a lot of people get it twisted, but you got to remember, she's in the early 2000s. We still have misogyny like running rampant, you know, with the patriarchy and the government. So for her to say she's the top cop, that was her putting herself in her position to all the white men that were defiant up below her when she was implementing rules for their departments, for the police departments on bias training. And we really ignore that a lot, and we don't give her credit for that. She is the only person that has gotten that close to making change in a state, and it was the largest policing, like the largest, I forget what it's called, the district or whatever, compared to the rest of the United States. And she's the only one that's implemented those changes and stayed true to it. And she did it as a Black woman. Now, when you look at the district attorney over in Baltimore that was prosecuting the cops, she dove in early on her prosecuting the officers. Look what they did to her. What was her name? I can't believe I'm forgetting her name, but they prosecuted her for pulling out of her 401k and we're going to give her life. And we were begging Biden to give her a pardon. She got convicted, but she didn't get a life sentence. But now she can't be a lawyer anymore because she's disbarred. So,
That's crazy.
you know, so when we think about Kamala Harris, everybody points out, oh, she did this. She arrested parents. That was a nationwide thing. It wasn't just California. That was a federal law that they were trying out. And then she actually made change in people's lives in California. And she doesn't get enough credit for that because a lot of people don't care about the mass incarceration problem as much as she has. And she's been fighting that for 30 years. So to even have a candidate running for office that is that passionate about law and wrongful convictions really brings me a lot of joy because, like I said, I've been an advocate for 22 years. Nobody's ever gotten close to making the changes she did as a district attorney and an attorney general. And I just want to remind people that because when men tell the story, I'm vulgar, so I'm just going to say it. When men tell the story throughout history, when men tell the story, the woman's always the cunt. She's always the bad
Correct.
guy. You
But
know,
I
so
also
you
have
gotta
a
remember
question.
that.
I agree with everything you're saying, but my next question is what has she said or is going to do to not eliminate child predators, but like the
Oh, so she
statutory
had a,
limits should be done. There should not be a limit on
that
when
was
you
her
can report
focus.
someone.
Sex
Is that
crimes was her focus in the
okay?
DA's office. That was her
All right.
focus. So she's got
Okay.
all sorts of, yeah.
Good.
Those were a lot of
Good.
her convictions if you look at her
Good.
record.
Yeah.
Okay. That was my
She's very
question.
passionate about that.
Good.
Yeah, she was actually. I know she was that was one of her main things as DA was focusing on sex crimes. So
And I think a lot of people are scared and like a lot of people aren't endorsing her because they know what she's about. She don't play when it comes to law. And that's like a lot of lawyers that are civil activists or believe in change. They don't mess around when it comes to the law because we see the manipulation of how it's used for
Yeah,
wrongful
but
conviction.
child predators are in a whole nother. It's like
Oh, I
Epstein's
agree with
clause
you.
that came out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a whole different ball game now. Like the justice system is gonna find out. Like they need to double their size in that
Well,
department right now.
here's the danger, though, that's happening right now. I'm in Ohio, you guys. I'm in one of the most corrupt states ever in the history of this country. Elliot Ness warned us in 1920 about Cleveland, Ohio, and the corruption here. Like, it's on record and shit. But what I just discovered, like I said, I do wrongful conviction advocacy. I've worked in 5 different states. Ohio's the worst I've ever seen in my life, and that's why I've been here 10 years. And what I've noticed is you got to follow the money, you guys. Whenever the federal government puts out grants for certain task force, like right now, the human trafficking task force, they don't care who they arrest or convict. So it actually is, it's actually hurting more victims than helping. So I think in order to really address the problem, we have to legalize S work, and then we can really get the real human traffickers and the pedophiles. Because to think that they're just out in the open like that is ridiculous.
Oh,
Yeah.
but they are, and they are
I know they
public
are, but I mean-
officials too.
yeah, there's a
That's
lot
why
of,
they don't want it to happen. They don't want it to happen because they're all okay. Not all guilty, because that's guilty of me, but
Well-
a lot a lot.
The case I'm working on right now, an artist, a business owner who happened to be a very tall black Muslim man was accused by a local detective of being a human trafficker because he had a fancy car. And it went to court and it was awful. They slandered him on the news nationwide. His family's house was put on TV, his parents' house, so people are attacking their house even now, even though the case is over.
Wow.
So that's what I say,
Wow.
like the task force, when there's money involved, especially with Marcy's law in place, which you don't have the right to confront your accuser. So it's like contradictory to our constitutional rights.
Exactly. Why would that even be a thing?
Yeah, oh, it's
That's
bad.
crazy.
It's so bad. And this is how they're getting
Right.
away with mass wrongful convictions right now under sex crimes. And that's why it's really scary there's a lot of innocent people that are registering as sex offenders on plea deals because of what they're looking at and what they're being accused of. It's really sad.
I think there should be like a whole re-evaluation of that process, because my offender walks free to this day,
Yep,
and
mine
he's
too.
offended after mine, after
Mine
me.
too.
Like, he's had kids after me, and then some, I'm sure, other than his own kids. So it's like there are the ones, but it should be a better vetting system. Like, if there are other vetting systems that are better for like targeting mass killers and convicted killers and what are they called?
But
Serial
if you-
killers.
What do you guys think about this with the government? Have you guys noticed that when it comes to serial unalivers, I'm using TikTok language. I don't know if you're
Good job. I don't. Sorry.
yeah.
It's bad.
Serial
I think about it all the
unalivers.
time.
It takes them decades to figure out serial unalivers, but a self-defense unaliving in the streets, it's within 6 hours. You know what I mean? Like it's like, come on, like what are we using here? And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the federal government in 2020 started a predictive policing program. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah,
No.
it's crazy.
It's
No, I
But
didn't.
did you know?
Fuckers.
But did you know that in 2018 I had a stroke, and the medical practices were already conducting pre Narcan for people, even though they didn't test positive for methamphetamine or any amphetamines at all in general?
Yeah, I got prescriptions for that in my purse to help people on the streets or whatever if I run into them.
But
I know.
in 2018 I had a stroke and they gave me Narcan, and no
Wow.
one has ever said what the side effects of Narcan are for people who have never done drugs. Like, I smoke pot medically. I've done shrooms, but that's about it. Like, no, nothing else. Why would you ever give me Narcan?
Yep.
That's weird.
They fucked up. They fucked up.
Yeah, I've noticed that the energy behind the Democrats is totally shifted now that Kamala's at the top of the ticket.
I feel a little bit more relieved because I felt it was either fast walk to fascism or the slow walk, because we've lost more rights in the last 4 years than people are even aware of or paying attention to.
Agreed. Agreed.
And that's under
Agreed.
Biden administration. And the fact that he can do an executive order to increase, government employees' federal minimum wage to $15 an hour and ensure that federal employees get 2 raises a year on our tax dollars, but he couldn't write an executive order to give us minimum wage. That pissed me off. When he did that, I was
You
done.
can't do that with executive orders, sadly.
Yes, you can. They did it. Obama did it. That's how we got the raises up to 725, is because Obama did it via executive order. Biden did it via an executive order for the federal government. Why can't he do it for everyone? You can. He can write executive orders. The minimum wage, Bill Clinton did the last executive order for minimum wage to be increased to $5.25.
They all should have.
Yeah,
Obama
2015
did
is when Obama did the executive order. I looked it up the other day.
I don't like any of them. They all should have had an increase to minimum wage to start for just basic caregivers, like
Yeah.
children, like babysitters.
They don't want to. Damn it. Sorry, guys.
The last minimum wage increase was in 2009 when Congress raised it.
Yeah, Obama, the
Yeah,
725.
but it was Congress who did it. You can't raise the
It
federal
was
minimum wage without
2015. I'm
Congress.
sorry, 2015 was the minimum raise for or the minimum hourly rate for what the hell is it called? Salary employees. You had if you were
Yeah,
salary
that's
if
through
people
the
were
NLRB.
salary.
That's not the minimum wage, though.
Well, there's an executive
Because
order in
Obama,
2015
Biden
that he
just did
did for
that too.
white. Well,
Like
either
Biden's
way,
NLRB just did that too. They raised it to like 50 something thousand for salaried employees.
it should be more than that. It should be 60 now.
But yeah, like the minimum wage hasn't been raised since 2009 when Congress passed it. Because you
I
can't
thought-
raise the federal minimum wage without Congress being involved, sadly.
No, you can. You can do if the financial piece, as long as it doesn't violate your constitutional rights, you can. You guys, you have to look at history. Everything that we have as citizens that benefit us was done via executive order. FDR, the reason why we have all the service programs that we have was the executive orders. He wrote 3,800
I understand the history, but if you don't have the money to give the educational and the scholarly evidence in your research, then they don't care. They don't want to hear it. If you don't have paper to paper research paid by somebody, they don't want to hear it. It's just speculation.
Yeah,
As far as
FDR was able to get so much done because he had 3/4 of the Congress and the Senate.
Well, of course, but it was
He passed the
executive
Social
order. Is my
Security Act,
point.
The Medicare Act. Well, no, the Social Security Act was a law. The Medicare Act was a law. Federal minimum wage was a law. Those were all passed by Congress and the Senate.
But how were they put in place in the first place? His executive orders to create those departments in the first place is what I'm referring to.
Yeah, but those were only paid for because of Congress passing the law.
Right.
Like, the president doesn't have the power over money. It's the
Then
power
why
of the purse goes to Congress.
did President Biden write executive orders for federal government to have minimum wage increase and to guarantee
Because
2 pay
those are
raises a year?
Federal employees.
But-
He
but
controls
the-
the executive branch.
Well, he's in charge of the federal minimum wage too, right?
No, that's
How is he not-
that's a
For
law by
federal
Congress.
employees. Okay, for example, I worked on
I
APHIS.
understand.
If
I
the
understand.
exchange had a base minimum pay of $725 even in 2018 when I worked there. This was passed for their state or government lowest based employees to get paid to get a pay raise from $8 to $13 or $14. That's what it was.
Yeah, the president he can change the pay rate of federal employees because all federal employees kind of fall under the executive branch unless they're part of the judiciary or Congress itself. But Congress controls the power of the purse, so they determine how much money the president's branch can even spend. And the things like the federal minimum wage, that's an actual law Congress would have to pass. It's the same reason like Biden couldn't sign a law to give everybody Medicare for all. He would have to get that passed through Congress and the Senate. That's why I was so mad that
comes with a
Obama
chunk of
didn't get
cash,
anything
yeah.
done. Because like Obama
And to get
had
passed
the
through the
Super Bowl.
Congress
But
and
the
the
other thing-
Senate, you have to go through the capitalist
But how
system,
come
which
you
includes all the people that own all the money.
Then how can you write more executive orders for additional infrastructure money?
He didn't. He
That did
passed
go
the
through Congress.
Infrastructure Reduction Act. The
Okay, well,
Inflation
how could they
Reduction
take
Act
our
was
money
the
for infrastructure 200 years ago when the infrastructure hasn't been upgraded for
Because
200
we know
years?
That's how they launder money. We know that.
Well, that's the same kind of question. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right. But I mean, the reason why is because he in December 20, I think it was December 26th or December 27th, he signed another $1 trillion into infrastructure. Look it up. He did the desk of the president. His executive order was another $1 trillion into infrastructure given to airports nationwide. It was at the end of December. It was after Christmas. I'm sure it was after Christmas.
I just don't understand how any amount of people could ever actually vote on $1 trillion, like in a concept itself. Like, I just, it's a philosophical question. Like,
Right.
to have $1 trillion to do something with, like, it's a philosophical question.
Okay. So you did minimum wage for contractors. Let's see.
Yeah, the president's pretty limited on when it comes to spending money without congressional approval. That's why they always say that Congress has the power of the purse.
Yeah, I know they do. I know there. I know if they put a financial plan together, then it goes to Congress. I know that much. I know there's executive orders that they've done throughout the years to push legislation through, like to enforce the Civil Rights Act. They had to write executive order to force states to take it or to.
Yeah, but those
to
are executive
stuff
orders
like
to
that.
enforce a law that
Right.
Congress passes.
Right.
Like without the law, the Civil Rights Act, he couldn't use the federal employees to enforce that law. Like he can't just make up a Civil Rights Act and then have the
No, I'm not. No, I know
presidential
he
people
can't.
enforce it.
No, I know he can't make something up. I'm just saying, like anything that anything at the desk of the president throughout history, they've written hundreds of executive orders. I don't know where the rhetoric started. Like you can't do it because you're king, or that makes you a king. It's
A
not
lot
true,
of
but
them, because a lot of them get overturned.
they don't
Like,
though.
oh yeah,
But
all
if
the
that's
ones
part of the
Biden tried to do with
democratic
his-
process, you have to go through the legislative branch, the
Look what
judicial.
happened with Biden's student loan forgiveness.
Oh
Most of
God,
it got overturned
but
because
that
they were
wasn't.
executive
But that wasn't an
orders.
executive order. People keep thinking
No,
that
they
was an
were.
executive order. It wasn't an executive order.
That
It
were
wasn't.
executive orders. Like
The student
that's how
loan?
he was trying to. Yeah, that's how he tried to do it.
I
He tried
didn't
to
see
use an
any executive orders
through-
written up on student loan debt.
Yeah, his first one, that was what was overturned by the Supreme Court. Because they said that the law that Congress passed didn't give him the power to overturn all.
Yeah.
Because he tried to do it through the COVID bill, the emergency COVID relief bill. He tried to use that as his justification. And the Supreme Court said that wasn't enough justification because the bill didn't give him that power.
You know, it just pisses me off. Like they know that it's fake money. The money doesn't exist, so why don't they just write it off? It's not going to exist till we pay the debt, because it's all interest. It's all compound interest.
Because
How
if
was the
America
stock market
admitted that, then
created?
the world's
Fake
economy
money.
would collapse.
Huh?
Because if America admitted that their money isn't backed by anything, the entire world's economy.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like technically, the Federal Reserve could just erase all of the United States debt if they wanted to. The second you did that, it would collapse the world's economy.
Yeah, but I think it's not fair if it's illegal for banks and everybody else to charge compound interest, why did they do that to students and take advantage of that? And why is it that they have people that are not trained in money lending doing the loans with kids? Because whenever you take out a loan anywhere, they all have license except student loans. And I was locked in at 2.3%.
First,
you.
they do. The first part of your question, can you repeat? The first part of your answer, I mean, or question.
Why is it legal for the Federal Reserve to charge us compound interest, but if
Well,
a
that's not
bank
the
did
Federal
it,
Reserve.
my student loan debt,
Yeah,
it's
that's not
borrowed
to
from the Federal
Reserve.
Reserve,
No,
right?
it's borrowed from the federal government. The Federal Reserve is not part of the federal government.
And I'm pretty sure other businesses can charge compound interest, like loans on a bank.
It's not
Yeah, the
legal
federal-
anymore.
the
There was
federal-
legislation written on it in, I think it was mid 80s. Look it up. They can't charge compound interest anymore. The FCC will go after them.
But
Trust me, I've been fighting this
the-
since 2011.
the Federal Reserve has nothing to. They're not part of the federal government. They're a private bank. They just have. They're as federal as Federal Express.
Okay.
But the federal government's who you got your student loan through.
Yeah, that's who I got my loan through. So they're
Yeah.
charging me compound interest. My bad.
Yes, the
Yeah, I
Federal
knew
Reserve
that. I don't know why
charges
it said
banks
Federal
interest.
Reserve. I don't know why it said Federal Reserve.
But were they or were they not also preyed upon by like organizations like
Oh, yeah.
Sally Mae and
Yes.
and
Oh, yeah.
so we were all predators or
Yes.
prey. I mean prey, not predators.
I borrowed a total of $21,000. I went to school from 2000. I didn't pay for my first 2 years of school with student loans, but my student loans I took out between 2001 and 2004. And then the Sally Mae fiasco happened in 2006. And then the fucking housing market crashed in 2009. And then the jobs came back and the wages were half the rate they were before the market crash, you know? And then every time they trade your loans, they say it's a new loan borrow date. So how they screwed me out of the settlement is they said I took my loans out in 2016 and nobody will change it. And I said, provide the original documents that I signed in 2016 then. They don't have to do anything.
Well, student loans have like a whole bunch of things that are very weird. Like you can't file bankruptcy against them.
And that's Joe Biden's law. He created that in 2006.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the idea that you can't file bankruptcy against student loans is insane, especially because it's like the only loan you can get when you're 18.
Right.
Like,
I
you
don't
can't get a
I don't
business loan
understand
for
the new
100 grand when
updated,
you're
but
18.
I knew the difference between a Pell Grant and an actual like state fund, loan. They explained the difference. They weren't like total sharks, but
Oh yeah.
Sally Mae totally was. They were like, "Oh, you got a 70% graduation rate as a woman."
Oh, they tell you, like they told me my locked interest was 2.9%. It's only locked while you're with that money management company, though. Then it goes away.
Well, just like you said, they give women the first 2 years free, but then they charge you for the second 2 years, knowing full well you're gonna have a child and you're gonna drop out. I was lambda pi eta of Shippensburg University's human communications whatever group when I was in college. And I went through the same loan shark bullshit and I did the same thing and I'm still in debt and I paid most of it. I'm disabled now, so I'm only, responsible for the other 10,000 or whatever. But
Right.
they still got me for 2 years for $35,000. Like
I borrowed 20,000. I owe 89,000. You guys, would you pay that? Well, 23,000 I borrowed, and I owe 89. That's crazy, right?
yeah.
And I've made payments over the years.
Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't go to college. I'm not gonna lie.
It was the biggest. It was a mistake. I didn't want to go to college.
Well, see, my entry letter was that my mom smoked crack and I was taking care of the family and they let me in. Gave me a 70% chance of graduating. Like, what the? Ah.
There you go. How's it going, Al?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute.
Good.
It's going good, man. It's going good. I'm a little. I'm excited that we got somebody new in there, and I don't know, a little disappointed that it's Kamala, but at the same time excited that it's not Joe.
Right. Well,
I don't know.
there was nobody else that they could have put in this late. Like Joe really screwed us by not dropping out, like just not running. He shouldn't have even ran. He should have said before this whole. We should have had a real primary, but the Democratic Party screwed us with that. So,
But
after
that's
that, it was-
the only way they could have won. The Democrats are all about winning.
right.
Yeah, they don't want to shake things up too much this late, huh? That's kind of what I'm getting is that they don't want to. They don't want all
Well,
the infighting kind of last
It's
minute.
also a money thing because the money that was already in the Biden-Harris campaign, they can't give that to anybody else. And there was over
Yeah,
$100
I heard.
million.
I saw that. I saw that. I'm sure you're right that that's a big deal too. But what was it? Jake Uger. I listened to him a lot, and he was talking about how that was kind of. It could be a non-issue if they did it right. Like what did he say? You move it over to
You could move it to a
run
super
ads or
PAC.
something. I can't remember exactly what he said, but like he
Yeah,
had
I've
a
move
been
it to a
filed.
super
Listen,
PAC.
I've been filed with the FEC for 2.5 years now to run for president, and I've made $0, and I've filed $0 ever since then. Got nowhere. Like,
Yeah, it's like they could have given the money to a charity or to a super PAC, but the problem with the super PAC is the campaign can't have any direct the interaction with the
No.
super PAC,
No.
and trying to give it to anybody else would have just been a nightmare before the convention. And she raised so much money on her first day. She raised $100 million in 24 hours from all small dollar donations.
that's
Like,
women.
Yeah.
Thanks, vaginas. Thank you for the uterus.
Like that's so much money that I think once
And the
that
people
happened,
that
all the
enjoy
other Dems were
uteruses. And the people that enjoy uteruses too. Let's not forget them. Okay.
like, But yeah, seriously, I think once they saw the $100 million, anybody who would have been like a chance to run against her was like, I can't fight with $100 million already. And then
Yeah.
you saw like them all fall in line. Like Pelosi endorsed him, Schumer endorsed him, Gavin Newsom endorsed her. It's just been one after another after another. I'm pretty sure the entire Democratic establishment has endorsed her at this point.
Yeah, man. I was out. You know what? I was out camping this last weekend, and so we didn't have any Wi-Fi out there or anything. And I ran my daughter into town because she didn't want to. She wanted to just stay out one night, so I ran her back to town because it's only like about an hour drive. And when I came back into town, I saw the news. Joe Biden officially drops out. So I'm like, oh crap! But I was listening to Jake Uger. I think it was who I was listening to, and he was saying that they're gonna have a convention and blah blah blah, and they're gonna like battle it out, see who's the best candidate and all that. So I go back out there and I tell my cousin, oh yeah, so and so dropped out. We're gonna get the best candidate. They're gonna have this big old debate and whatever. Then I come back to town again and find out, nope, they're like everybody's like full on Kamala Harris. I was like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, it was fast how fast they all like lined up right behind her. But she was really smart about it. She named 4 people as her VPs, all of which would have been her top competitors. Like,
Hope
so
it's
she
Shapiro. Oh, I hope it's Shapiro. I'm gonna take his job. I'm gonna take his job.
Yeah, she basically took 4 of her competitors right out of the race by giving them the hope that they had a 25% chance of being VP. So she played her cards smart, and then her people started calling delegates right away. And once they got the 2,000 delegates, it kind of was over after that.
Didn't that Republican lady give her delegates to her, or was that a rumor going around on TikTok?
You think about Nikki Haley?
Yeah.
It's not her delegates, because they're completely different conventions. Her delegates would have been at the RNC, but what happened is her super PAC is endorsing Harris.
That's what I meant. Super PAC. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they can't technically have anything to do with her campaign, so it's like a separate entity. It was just a super PAC support.
I get so confused with that stuff.
It's all political bullcrap. Super PACs are just a way for billionaires to be able to influence elections without being able to dump the money straight into a campaign.
Which I think the DNC and RNC should be abolished anyways, since our corporations are not part of the government. They keep dictating how the government should run, my opinion.
Agreed.
But politics and political rhetoric are taught different ways. Like when I was in college, in human communications, I went to political rhetoric class, and they told us about how someone like Trump would say the things they said, or could say the things they said, just like it happened before with, we're not going to say, but I think the Democrats did what they could do the best at. Honestly,
yeah, like I said, Joe Biden really screwed us by running at all. We should have had a full primary, and then we would have ended up with a much stronger candidate. But as it sits, Kamala's stronger than Biden. So
yeah, I think it's time for some female energy in the office. Anyways, I mean, Mexico's got that good female energy going. And if you look at countries, when you look at other countries historically, whenever a woman gets in charge, there's some things that change, and I think. This is just a theory I have, and I'm not male bashing or anything like that. I'm just saying that women naturally think about everybody before themselves. And I think men have a tendency to think, well, what's in it for me first before they think about everybody. That's just been my experience in my personal life, too.
I agree, and totally 100%. I also think, hypothetically, that if Taylor Swift, and by the way, I saw her show when I was 15. I drove illegally to 2 states over to go see her, and I loved her then. I was 15. I hate her now. I love her, hate her music. But if she endorsed Kamala, or like someone like Kendrick Lamar or Snoop Dogg endorsed Kamala, she would win 100%.
I heard a rumor Beyonce was coming out Friday.
I heard that Beyonce. No. I heard that Beyonce gave her rights to use her music in a new campaign ad.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I heard her and Beyonce were getting together. Beyonce gave her rights to her music for her next ad.
Why would they say World War III?
Because the world's ending right now.
I read an article probably about a month ago now, where Putin and President China, right? Xi, thank you, from China. They actually put a plan together where no country should have power and only the United Nations should have power. And I was like, huh. Why are
But
these
not
guys
everyone
coming
is
up
even
with world
allowed.
solutions and everybody
That's-
else is having a cockfight? Like, come on.
That's not a solution because not everyone is invited and allowed
Right.
to be in the United Nations,
I
so that
know.
doesn't count anyway. And half the people neglected are starving and don't even have clean water, so that's not fair.
Yep.
Not to
Including
mention, as
us.
long as the United Nations has the 5 members of the Security Council, like, you can't really call the United Nations democratic.
Yeah. I
The
agree.
fact that us or Russia or Britain or China can just veto anything is just, it makes the whole thing not democratic. Because otherwise, right now, Netanyahu would already be in jail.
Right.
Like, if we had an actual international criminal court that all the countries were, like, signed on to, he'd already be in jail.
The Gaza Strip wouldn't be happening still. It continuously.
What do you think we're going to suffer consequences for this when everything settles?
I
No,
mean, there's always
no.
going back.
No. Women and children are gonna die. Same day, different day. It won't be the same. They're
Yeah.
gonna drag it out the same. And they won't face the consequences. The same with the child predator thing. I keep coming back to circles. It's like the same. The universe keeps bringing me in circles. No
Yeah.
one is held accountable for anything.
It just sucks because like I can just see it. Like if people would just like look at it from an outside perspective and just see it's just colonizing the Middle East now to get more resources like we've always done. Like that's the United States specialty.
But have you seen that they
God.
want to build that new strait through Gaza?
What street?
Yes.
No.
The waterway
No, tell me.
connection.
Tell
Okay,
me.
so there's
Tell me.
what's that strait called? There's I think there's a strait that goes through Egypt that they use as one of the major shipping things.
It's all about profit.
Oh yeah, I saw a little thing on that. There's like a whole plan they had.
Yeah,
Is
they
it
want to build a
Ziad?
new one.
I think it starts with a Ziat or no, maybe I'm
Something
wrong.
like
It
that.
had, it had something to do with not wanting to use the what is it that canal at the
Yeah,
Red
because
Sea
it's
or
4
whatever
days
it is.
longer. It's 4 days
What's
longer.
that called?
I don't know. I gotta look at the map.
Yeah, it's a strait or something.
If the U.S. is suffering on the inside, how can it be a world leader?
I agree.
Isn't everyone suffering on the inside though? Like, isn't that a
No.
mother's job? Like, we all suffer on the inside. Like, I clean up puke and shit every day. Like, I suffer, but I still have to do it.
The
No.
Suez Canal is the one that's there now,
That
and the new canal they want to build will go from the right side of the Red Sea to right through Gaza. In order
Right?
to-
Isn't it like a 4-day shave off? So it's all about profit.
Yeah, well,
It's
they're
4 days
them
shave
stealing
off or
money from
3 day.
Israel.
yeah.
If they start building that, like how obvious will that be? Like, would there still be people acting
They're
like this
doing
thing
it.
wasn't like totally
That-
pre-planned?
That equipment, those docks and everything they built, all they did is unload building equipment. That
If
wasn't
we're
humanitarian
already,
aid.
if we're just now hearing about it, it's already happening. Yeah, we're late to the game.
Well, do you see, what's his name? Trump's son-in-law was already talking about the.
Kushner.
Yeah, Kushner was talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
the real estate in Gaza will be
Yeah.
really good oceanfront property.
That's what the
That's
that's what the
right.
2 billion
Yeah.
from the Saudis is for.
Yeah, and every rich millionaire says that oceanfront property is the biggest
Well,
on
we're
the market.
selling it
Yeah,
here in
but
the United States.
also the glaciers are still melting, so that ocean state's going to be underwater very soon.
Yeah, we're pretty fucked.
That's the way it's
Worth
written.
lots of money for about maybe 5 or 10
No.
years.
I did not believe the cow theory on how the cows are killing the planet, and now I get it after watching that documentary on Netflix. it's not just the gas they emit. They're literally tearing down the rainforest, our lungs, to breed more cows.
No, I live in Pennsylvania. We are literally filled with cow fields, and they're the friendliest, cutest little dog animals you will ever meet.
I know.
Don't bash the cows. It's the
I love
farmers.
the cows. I'm saying we're
It's the
destroying the
farmers.
planet to breed them.
Yeah, because it's just like, okay, what about chickens and goats and everything else? Pork, pigs? Like, you can name all the other animals that we
Yeah, but they don't
mass
turn
produce.
as much profit.
Yes,
Look
they
at-
do. Beef,
Look.
wagyu.
No, I'd like, but look, you can go to a restaurant and get a steak for $300. You aren't going to get a chicken breast at that price. Depending on how it's aged and how it's beaten and everything. That's what I mean.
But if it's covered in a gold leaf and signed by Trump with a Sharpie, you might eat it for
Yeah,
$3
that's
grand.
No, you probably do. They probably charge 3.5 million because you get to shit out gold.
I'm dying of a stroke right now. Please stop.
I for the longest time, man, I've been, just on board with the whole green energy and thing and all that. Like for the longest time, since like George Bush era, I've been on board with that whole thing. And then, on TikTok, I'm scrolling through and I see like this Lakota native dude talking about how like they're like seriously pushing to mine in like treaty territory that was like unrightfully taken from them and stuff like that. And it's like they're trying to mine there, and come to find out all these different deposits of minerals happen to be in like places that are just like they're just like
That's
special
why they want-
places. You know what I'm saying? So I don't
That's
know,
all
man.
along
I've
they
kinda-
found lithium. Lithium is what the United States wants now, and that's why they're pushing the whole fight with Mexico, is because all the mountains going all the way down through Chihuahua are lithium.
Yeah, but they just found that huge lithium deposit in Minnesota, I think. it
Yeah.
was.
I'm just so interested in why everyone is so interested about the valuable minerals when we should be more concerned about, like, when I was locked up in an institution for 20 days up near Tower City and the lead in the water and the sulfur and the
Yeah.
way it tasted. Like, that's
Yeah.
like a normal thing now, and that should be like number one. Before
infrastructure-
before the rare ones, let's get rid of the dirt ones.
Well, that's
But
that's
man,
the whole point.
I feel like
Infrastructure
I
money.
feel like I'm stuck on the issue though, because like on one hand I know that like oil isn't really the way. Like we got to like transition off of that, and I don't really have a solution. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? So I'm just
What we
Well,
should have
I
done.
don't really know what to
The
think about
solution
that
is
anymore.
mass public transit.
That's it. And when you look at all the other countries like Japan, China, Europe, you can get anywhere in a day on a train. Like we should have
Or-
high-speed rail
or-
going from Canada all the way down to South America, and we don't. What the hell?
Or also have a federal grant so that everyone in the United States is granted a horse and feed for the horse and a stable so we can ride that fucking shit to the gas station for our drinks and ice to keep our food warm and cold.
No thanks. I'll pass on that. Because I'll be the one
And then,
stepping
and
on
then you look at like what's going on in like certain areas of Africa, like the Congo
Yeah.
and stuff, and what's going on over there, and it's just a freaking
Horrible.
complete nightmare. And it's like, okay, so the less we mine here, the more we're going to be mining over there, and it's, I don't know, man. I just
Well, that's why
I've
I
been
think we
feeling
need
real
to get
stuck.
off of this electric vehicles kick, because electrical vehicles are bad for the environment. We need mass public transit. Like China's put down
Agreed.
45,000 kilometers of high-speed rail in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's
So
insane.
many people could
We
ride
can't
the
even
bus
get one
just to
from
the grocery
LA to
store.
San Francisco.
Right, and you could just
Yeah.
ride the bus to the grocery store if there was just a bus that went to the grocery store 2 times a day, like from here to
Right.
there, you know?
Or like the town I live in, they have a bus system, but it runs once an hour. And it's like, so
Yeah.
you have to wait an hour basically no matter where you want to go. Whereas it's like if you had that bus that ran every 15 minutes, then it would be much more useful.
Yeah, like
I'm
the one
here
in
near
downtown
Harrisburg. It's
Minneapolis.
like 4 hours.
Yeah, the one in downtown Minneapolis runs every 20 minutes, and it's great, but it only goes from downtown Minneapolis to Mall of America to the airport. You know, like so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But think about it. We should have high rail from Canada all the way down to South America. The United States doesn't want us to
Should.
experience other countries. They really
Right.
hinder us from doing that.
Well, we
that's
spend
why-
money in other countries then.
And America is one of the only countries in the world where, like, if you leave America, like, say you move to another country,
Yeah.
you have to pay income taxes there and in America.
Well, I'm going to Costa Rica, y'all. I'll be out of here soon. Like Costa Rica, you can get 88 acres of land for like $350,000. They're eco. They love us. They have they're number 2 in the world for healthcare. Like Costa Rica is the bomb. I'm out of here.
Good for you. The rest of us are stuck in hell.
I know. I've spent my life, fighting this damn government to the point where it put me in the hospital. So I'm not, I need to relax for a while.
Yeah, remember, when you move there, you'll still have to pay taxes in America.
I know, that's what sucks, unless I change
So
my name
stupid.
here. I might just
stupid.
I'll go down to Belize and come back with a whole new identity. Just to get out of paying US taxes.
I went to Puerto Rico once. It was beautiful. Still America, but you didn't need a passport.
Yeah.
I lived in Texas. That's where I got involved with wrongful convictions. And I was crossing over into Mexico. I think it was 2008 when they put the passport restriction on. We went to Mexico all the time without passports. But you had to pay for toilet paper if you're down there, so you always had a pocket full of coins.
Yeah, it used to be normal to go back and forth from Mexico.
Yep, and
America until
Canada.
Reagan.
I never knew
That's
that.
still fairly normal in Canada. It's pretty easy to cross that border with just your ID.
Yeah, they'll give you a day pass.
I've crossed a lot of borders, but not many state borders or country borders.
I've lived in 6 states, I think.
Yeah, I've lived in Arkansas, born and raised in Minnesota, don't you know, eh? Arkansas, Texas, Nevada, and now Ohio. Where Jim Jordan is getting off for letting a predator assault children for years.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more.
Oh, I know. I mean, if churches have insurance, for fuck's sake, there's got to be millions.
Yeah, that's wild. It's wild that insurance companies cover that. It's so insane.
It's really just, it's insane. I blame the Graham family, going all the way back to 1810, being the first evangelicals running around the country, turning sex into a shameful act and all that kind of stuff.
I blame a religion that's based on a god impregnating
Right.
a 13-year-old.
Right. Me too. But a lot of people don't realize that chastity belt was actually created right here in the United States of America. That's where I live.
Yeah, it
Patrick,
wasn't even a
Las
thing
Vegas.
from. It's like it was never a medieval thing.
Right,
Something
it was
from the
never medieval.
1800s.
Yep. And it was because they believed that morning wood was you were possessed by the devil or a demon or some shit.
It's the same reason they say bless you when you sneeze, is because they thought when you sneezed your soul popped out for a second.
Oh my
They had to say
God.
bless you to get your soul back in.
Oh my God, I'm never saying
I
bless
didn't
you
know
again.
that one.
It's true. They literally thought when you sneezed your soul like popped out for a second. If they don't say bless you, your soul might not get back in. A demon might take over your body in
Yep.
a minute.
Oh my God, dude.
It's-
You know how I always rationalize that? I always rationalize that by thinking that it was because when somebody sneezes, it was a sign you might be getting sick, so they're blessing you so you don't get sick.
It's the same reason they tell you to cover your mouth when you yawn. It's because they used to think that like a demon could crawl in your mouth while you were yawning.
Oh my God.
What? Oh my God.
Oh my
I thought
God.
I thought it was because I gleek everywhere when I yawn.
I feel like I
No.
just met all my best friends and we're going to be up all night.
Hey, so I wanted to ask you guys,
The graham
What do you
cracker
think?
was created for men to eat it after dinner because it had molasses and they believed it would stop the demons from infecting them and having morning wood. Swear. That's why graham crackers were created.
oh my God.
I studied the history of religions for 2 years in Minnesota. My first year, I was actually still a high school student. I was taking I was taking college courses, and it was fascinating the shit that I learned, like how it's just totally been used for manipulation of the masses and to cookie cut people. Cookie
Oh, yeah.
cut,
That
you know.
that would be awesome. Has anyone ever solved that problem in 2024? The morning wood thing.
Eat a graham cracker.
Cracker. Oh,
But just, I wish the United States would let us see that movie, that documentary in 1946. But for whatever reason, they're blocking the release of it, and it's been the most viewed documentary at film festivals in the history of film festivals. And it's how these people found over 68,000 documents in the basement of Yale Law School. And it was the white men sitting around the table changing the Bible in 1946, putting in the LGBTQ hate stuff. And they made
Totally see that.
it's 1946. You can see the trailer on YouTube, but you can't get the documentary anywhere because the U.S. has blocked it, even though it was at the California Film Festival.
that's interesting.
They left it in the archives, those dumbasses. Well, I mean, not dumb. They probably just assumed the patriarchy and the misogyny and the males would rule this world forever, and forget
That's
that we
kind
were
of what they're
equal.
going for.
Wrong.
The Idiocracy was a true story.
Hey, so what's the chance that we get this whole Kamala Harris thing tied up in the courts and all that crap, and
I don't think so.
in the Supreme Court with something?
Here's the reason I think the Supreme Court won't side with the Republicans, even if they go there. If they sided with the Republicans, the Supreme Court would have to say that say Donald Trump had a heart attack, that no one would be able to run as the Republican. And there's no way they're going to say that. Because if Joe Biden can't drop out and you can't replace him, then that means that no one can replace a Republican if something happens to him. Like,
Yeah, I see what you
especially
mean.
because they went with Kamala. Like, I think if they'd chosen any other
Kamala.
Democrat, it would be a much harder argument.
Yep.
But because they
Kamala.
went with her, and she was like the vice president anyway. I mean, obviously the people were voting knowing she could have taken over.
Right.
Okay, well, that makes me feel a little bit better about it being her.
Yeah, because like there's no way the Supreme Court's going to say you can't replace someone at the top of the ticket like that. Because what would happen if in October Donald Trump had a heart attack? Would that mean that the Republicans just couldn't run anybody? No, they would pick his vice president. I mean, obviously. And there's no way the Supreme Court's going to make, because whatever, you got to remember, whatever the Supreme Court says goes for both sides. It's not like they could be like, well, if the Democrats do it, we're going to go with this. Like, they have to make precedent. And there's no way they're going to limit the Republicans like that.
I hate
That's what
this.
all the lawyers I've seen say anyway.
Yeah.
Lady O.
Hey, thank you. Because I'm definitely not the law guy, but I am friends with a couple.
I love law. I'm a rare human being that absorbs it and processes it like it's second nature, and I see patterns and can predict outcomes. I know that sounds crazy, but like with the sex crimes thing, I said it 6 years ago. That's when I started studying sex crime laws, because I saw the influx. But the other reason why it's scary with these new convictions coming out is, to me, it's the new drug epidemic that they're utilizing these charges for. If that makes sense, like, because you're seeing an influx. I pulled up the registry in my neighborhood. There's no way there's 32,000 offenders in a 5 mile radius. That's insane.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, but you look, if somebody sends you a text message and it's a nude underage person, if you open it and the FBI or whoever's tracing that picture, you will be convicted of a crime. And you will have to register as an offender.
You could, but I also live in a trailer park, so 36 people in a 5 mile radius is not that far fetched.
Well, I'm in Cleveland. I live in predominantly Black communities, so that's why it's just ridiculous and absurd. That's why I say it's like the new drug war, but they're using something that makes white people go, oh my God, lock them up for life. Because immediately when people see offender, or the thing pops up on their phones, nobody knows what the different crimes or different levels mean. They automatically assume a rapist or a pedio. And that's not the case. Like this one guy that moved in down the street, he did 4 years in prison. He's registered as offender because he gave his nephew, his underage nephew, and underage girlfriend a ride to his nephew's house, and they fornicated. And so his uncle got convicted for driving minors to a place to fornicate. He was registered as offender. That's how serious, like,
Weird.
the wrongful convictions are right now with Marcy's law enacted. Like, they can get away with fabricating everything, and you have no rights.
That specific example that you just said, it sounds like fishing and stretching to me. However, I have an illegitimate child with someone I met and got pregnant with within a week, lived with him for 8 months, and then I got busted in on by 5 feds, and I was 8 months pregnant. He got charged with 26 felony counts of child pornography, and guess what? All 26 counts. He was originally had like 40 something, and I threw away the fucking court. I didn't want to read it. I just cut the guillotine.
Well, I pulled the
off,
cases.
but
I don't.
Some of them are guilty. A lot of them are guilty.
No, I disagree.
There's definitely a lot of guilty.
Look, there
1
is
in 3 women has been essayed, so I mean.
Absolutely. But the other thing is too, there's 333 million people in this country, and if it's more than 2%, then we're basically saying, I mean, don't get me wrong, the majority of the rapists come out of the evangelical field. Don't get me wrong on that.
No. Christian, Catholic. I was born Catholic, so let me tell you.
But look at the because a lot of it goes unreported and stuff, but I don't believe everything that people get charged with is an actual offense, because I read the transcripts, I read the cases, I can see, and you can see where there's fabrication.
And there's probably that way more so in some areas than others, and that's the same with like gerrymandering and like
it comes down to the grant money. It comes down to the federal grant money.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to. So if they're giving away if they have $100 million in funding, you're going to see an increase in that crime that they're giving that funding away for. Arrests and convictions, whether it's legal or not. Like, we got people in Ohio that are in prison that should have been out of prison 35 years ago, but because they were at the Lucasville riots, Ohio's been hiding them and shuffling them from prison to prison to prison, so the truth doesn't get out of what actually happened there. They're still in prison and they should have been out. That's how corrupt our government is. It's not just happening here, it's everywhere. Money's involved. People don't matter.
Also inequipped because they're not charging enough people. They're charging the wrong people.
They're charging the wrong people, exactly.
Right.
And that's
When you
the
look
point.
at how many like rape kits go untested in America, it's insane.
Oh, I never had one, but I can tell you how many times.
Look, you know what they're doing, what they've been doing in Ohio, and why David Yost is getting all this credit for, addressing the most offenses and everything. They're literally pulling kits and just mailing letters to people saying they're subpoenaed to court. And people are going, because of Marcy's law, they can't prove their innocence because they're not allowed to look at any of the evidence. They're not allowed to compare anything, and they're not allowed to confront their accuser. And there is no damn accuser. That's the whole point.
Well, a rape kit should have DNA evidence.
It should, but they're not doing that. Yeah, they're not doing that.
Yeah, but for example, at 6 years old, if you're forced into fear of not telling anyone, there won't be any evidence 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about children. I'm talking about grown adults.
A lot of them are children.
It says there's 25,000 untested rape kits. That's crazy. I know that Josh Stein, the guy who's running for our governor in North Carolina, he was our DA, and he got rid of all of the backlog of untested rape kits in North Carolina and put like a whole bunch of people in jail.
That's good.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I think he's going to win governor. At least I hope so, because the guy running against him is a complete psychopath.
I almost want to go back to Minnesota since they got so many new programs in place for citizens. It's almost like Minnesota started putting forward everything that Biden campaign promised.
I
They
know,
got free
right?
college now, free food for the kids. They got so much in Minnesota now.
Yeah, they did a really good job, especially like the. I don't understand how anybody's against giving free food to kids at school.
I don't either.
We
Like,
do
I
in
don't have
PA.
kids, but like, if
Breakfast
there's-
anyway.
Yeah, that should be free for like everybody. Like,
Yeah.
kids should just get free lunch. I mean, I don't understand how that's even an
Little
argument.
girls should also have it, all legal and available tampons and pads at all times from the age of,
Oh, hi-
let's say, 6, because it could
Whenever
happen.
they need them.
They don't even give them to women for free in prison, guys. Like, they don't give it
It's
to
so
Right.
ridiculous.
And if they do, they give you track infections that are
Yep.
caused by the chemicals that they spray
Yes,
on them
yep.
that they don't even tell you about.
Yep,
That's so gross.
it is. Our government hates us. We've been bamboozled for so long.
I can't believe we've had children at all at this point.
Well,
That's
they're
why the
concerned about the low
population's
birth rate.
declining.
What's that?
Yeah, across the world.
Yeah, across the world. Well, I love the what South Korea women did, the 4B movement. I think that was brilliant.
Yeah, but what
How have
nobody's
you men
talking
made us
about-
want to have more children? Like, ask me, like, tell me that.
What nobody talks about is what it's going to mean in the next 20 years. Like China, by 2050, over half their population is going to be over the age of 65.
Oh yeah,
Or dead.
totally.
Yeah.
But you know,
That,
but
that's
here's the
just
thing.
not sustainable.
It's not, but you know, the government's the one doing it to us. If they're not going to listen to the people and provide what we need in order to sustain a family, they can't blame us people for not procreating.
Well, it's also just urbanization as people moved into the cities. Like when you live on a farm, children are free labor.
Yeah.
So when
Yep.
you move into a city, children are expensive pets.
Yep.
That's
Perfect way to
that's-
describe it.
So when like you go from having 5 to 7 kids per woman to having 1 to 2, population goes down in a hurry.
Yep. But there's a lot more people, men and women in my age group, 40 and 50, that are sterile because of the lack of cleanup of chemicals that have been put in our soils over the years.
Oh, that too. That too. That didn't help any.
No, especially the old laundromats. The old laundromats had the worst.
Or just how much lead was in the air, especially.
I
like,
just
until
I
they
just
got
feel
rid of
like
the
I have
gasoline.
one big solution to this. If the egg donation companies would just take off the medical marijuana thing, then they would have so many more egg donations for these people that can't have children. Like it would just open so many more windows.
Yep.
But yeah, as it's sitting right now, like the U.S. population is about to get crazy. Like this year, 500,000 more boomers retire than Generation Z enters the workforce.
Jesus.
And next year, it's like 600,000. It keeps going up for the next 10 years. In 10 years, the last year when the boomers, all of them entered the workforce, it's like 1.1 million more than there are Generation Z entering.
So there is not going to be any social security, like ever.
There won't be people to pay for it. But the other thing you have to realize, though, is that we're also automating everything at a massive rate. So
Yeah.
the real question is, what happens when the robots do all the jobs?
What happens when T2 occurs?
I have a different perspective than most people. I would vote for an AI today if they created one that was smarter than us.
They're there, I'm sure. I mean, they
Not
have
yet.
internet
Right now, they're
assistants.
all like right now the most advanced AIs. They're not really capable of being smarter than us yet. Like ChatGPTs are really just a super advanced chatbot.
Uh-huh.
No, it's still
But, like-
programmed to only give answers for 2022.
Yeah, but also like once it reaches like there's going to come a point where the AI is going to be smarter than us, and as soon as that happens, I keep saying what Michio Kaku said, the future is either going to be Mad Max or Star Trek, and there's no in between.
Love it.
And
need
I think that's
universal
the
income.
truth. I'm hoping for Star Trek and preparing for Mad Max.
Yeah, lady sent me an AI video the other day of this guy asking the AI questions, and it made my skin crawl. It gave me
Yeah,
goosebumps. It was scary the way they were responding and basically saying that humans are stupid.
well, we are.
Well, yeah, we wipe out all the good inventions and deny they existed to build off of them.
But you also have to realize that the first time that AI is created that's smarter than us, it's going to create an AI that's smarter than it.
Yep.
And then that creates an exponential loop to where eventually, very, very quickly, you get a super intelligence. And then it'll be so much smarter than us, it'll be like trying to comprehend.
It was like that
It'll be like
movie.
an ant trying to comprehend us.
What was that movie that just came out recently? Was it on Netflix? It was where the AI took over and the soldiers went to fly to this other planet where the AI core was that was taking over and killing people off. God, it just came out. But that's like what you're saying. Like what you're describing is like what that movie was. You know,
Yeah.
how it started with one AI and it got super smart and it created another AI that was a super AI that could read your thoughts practically.
Well,
So
Google says they can do that with 98% accuracy now, which is kind of terrifying.
that is terrifying.
Yeah.
That is terrifying.
Yeah. And they can do it from just like your facial expressions, which is
Oh
really
no.
crazy.
Oh no. Yeah, lady, you watched that movie too. What the hell was it? I can't even think of the actress, and it's a big actress. It was a great movie. God dang it. It was really good.
I think I know what you're talking about. I want to say I think I've seen it. I already saw the trailer for it.
It was really good. God dang it.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens with AI. The reason I'm so pro AI is because I feel like it's inevitable, and
Yeah.
I'd rather it think I'm a nice guy.
Okay. That's a
So,
great perspective to have.
so like anytime I talk to an AI, I try to be very polite and nice
Yes.
because they're gonna remember.
Well, I cussed AI out because it changed it. I wrote about pre-Schnazi and
Mhm.
it changed everything to the zombieism terminology. And so I was
Well,
like,
that's
that's not
fine.
true. You're lying. I cussed it out. Oh, yeah. Jennifer Lopez. Atlas. That's what it was. Atlas. Yes. With Jennifer Lopez. It was a great
I did
movie.
watch that.
Yeah. Yep. I watch a lot of Neil I always say his name wrong. Neil
Degrasse
deGrasse.
Tyson.
Yes, deGrasse Tyson. I watch a lot of him, and he said by 2028 the internet's going to basically be irrelevant on what's true and what's not true as far as data and information. That will have to go back to books, but they're banning books just in time.
I don't know. I feel like there's always going to be nonsense on the internet, but
You
it's
said
hard
it's
to
going to be harder
say.
to decipher true from false, especially with the AI videos and everything like that. It's going to be
Oh
really
yeah.
difficult because it's only going to
Have
get
you seen
better.
the Sora AI
Yeah,
video generator?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
getting next generation of
yeah,
crazy. But I mean,
yeah.
Netflix is saying that within 10 years, they're gonna be able to make you personalized movies.
Oh, Christ Almighty! I don't want to know what's in my brain. You don't want to see what's
Yeah.
in my brain. I don't want to
So it'll
personalize.
literally like your Netflix algorithm will make a movie just for you.
Oh, Jesus
That's gonna
Christ!
be crazy.
Oh my God!
What's really scary is it'll probably be the best movie we've ever seen
Probably, probably. That
because
is
it'll be
scary.
tailored to all of your specific movie likes.
Oh my God! That's why they got the double thumb and the single thumb now.
Right?
I'm gonna drop down because I got some yummy barbecue to eat. But
Oh,
I
enjoy.
appreciate, yeah, I appreciate your content, man. Like definitely one of my favorite creators on here. There's really just like you and maybe a few other guys that I like follow pretty intently, see what's going
thanks,
on.
man.
But yeah, so thank you too, man. You guys have a good night.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Yeah, we gotta get your views should be way higher for as large of a content creator you are. Do you have an
Yeah.
intro set up on yours?
No, I get shadow banned a lot as well.
Oh, you're shadow banned. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
How you doing?
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh, hold on. I gotta close this door. Hold on. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Someone was talking, so I couldn't really talk. How's it going?
Good, how's it going?
Just burning up, man. Really hot where I live.
In Vegas,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's hot here,
miss.
but not that hot.
I don't miss
What?
feeling the sidewalks burning my feet through the sole of my shoes. I don't miss that at all.
Yeah, I don't really miss it either, although I don't have to. So.
You don't have to go outside.
I like to sweat because I feel like I usually am out. I like to be outside anyway. Like personally, I like nature. You know,
Yeah.
even if it's crappy. You know, like
People always
I have a-
laugh at me because I
I
say,
have a tree. I have a tree outside right now that I like to look at.
but you got a mountain view.
No, well, sort of. I mean, you have to walk further on the street, but you can see all the hills and mountains.
People always look at me confused when I say I learned how to snowboard in Vegas.
How'd you do that?
Mount Charleston.
Where's that at? I don't know where that is.
It's like 30 minutes outside of Vegas. It's everybody goes boarding there. We get passes, and we used to go there
Oh,
all
cool.
winter long.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, because they had the snowboarding convention right before this. I think at the end of February, the beginning of March, they'll have a
Yeah.
snowboarder convention, and then everybody will be up at Charleston like crazy. It's 30 minutes south, I believe, or is it north? I don't know. I get confused in that area.
I tried snowboarding in Seattle when I lived up there, and I sucked, so I just never did it again.
Yeah, I almost on the left side of the mountain.
I can never do any like feet boarding. So.
Yeah, I used to snowboard when I was really young. Like,
Yeah, I love
13, 14,
snowboarding.
but it's been-
I never could skateboard. I could never skateboard. I tried skateboarding, fell on my ass, so I stopped. And then I tried snowboarding, but then I fell into the snow, and I couldn't get out of the snow.
That's what happened to me my first time on the side of a freaking mountain, and you're at the orange fence.
And all my friends were
You're
going
over
down
the
this,
edge.
and all my friends were like having a great time, and I was just stuck up there.
I
Like,
was stuck. I was belly flopping, trying to, because my board and my boots were underneath the fresh powder, and my upper torso was on the slope still.
yeah, you're just stuck. It's like quicksand. It's like,
Oh, that's funny.
You know, I was used to boarding at resorts, not mountains.
yeah.
Right.
Mountains. Oh my god.
So
Yeah,
I like personally, I like to play chess, and I like to.
I play chess. A lot of chess.
You do? I love chess. Yeah, I play it all the
I
time.
haven't played in a while, but I used to play chess a lot when I was younger.
Yep, I love it. It does. I feel like chess has been a huge tool in everyday life for me, actually, especially with law and being a government watchdog.
Yeah, and then I like to play poker if I have money and I can afford it. And I just like the game. I just like playing because it's like the best game to like understanding how to read people or
For sure.
like understanding if someone's lying or if someone's telling the truth.
Especially like Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, and I feel like a lie detector would be great for politicians.
Yeah.
I think they should just have to be under oath every time they go to a campaign rally.
Yep.
Or just like I always feel like they should have lie detectors, so you would always make sure that that either they're telling the truth, or if they're not going to stay there.
Right?
I mean, it seems like a scientific way to do it, but
I also think we need to figure out a way to make it to where it doesn't cost so much money to run for politics.
yeah, that's
I
true.
never used to.
Because like the way it is now, if you can't afford to take the year off and still afford to like campaign and everything, you're just screwed. Like in my state, it costs $1,800 to get your name just to register the paperwork to run for Congress, and then
That's
you've got to be
insane.
able to campaign for the entire time. Which I mean, if you don't have $1 million, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you have like a grassroots following.
Yeah, because like I mean, like I work 80 hours a week. If I was to try and run for Congress, I would need some way to pay my rent while I ran. You know what I mean? Because like, how am I going to go to
I
campaign?
think you get
rallies and
unemployment,
stuff?
but
80
that was
hours a fucking week. I had my own business at the start of COVID, and I was working that much. And then when COVID happened, when I sat my ass down and I looked around and all I had was dumb material things, I was just like, what the fuck am I working so much for? Now it's rent and mortgage. But then it wasn't. Then I was like, why the fuck am I working this much? None of this shit satisfies me, and I don't get to be home and enjoy it.
Right.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I would absolutely run for Congress so I could just like afford to, take a year off.
Look at Alexandria. Look at how she did it. She lived in the Bronx, for fuck's sake. She
Right.
did it. There's ways.
Yeah.
It's just, I think a lot of the time the fear of the unknown in our subconscious is bigger than we realize.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I kind of
Especially
missed
when it
this
comes to
year
money
because I
here.
hadn't thought about it in time.
And I think a lot of people that start off, that aren't well off, in politics, they get grassroots because they share ideas with people, and then other people share ideas, and I'm sure that's one way of doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, like I wish if I could run for Congress, I would run on my favorite policy would be the right of first refusal for employees. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
it was a
Okay, so the idea is, I've seen it proposed in a couple of European countries. The idea is that if you're a business and you want to sell your company or you want to IPO, like make it a public company, before you can do that, you have to offer to sell your company to your employees. And the federal government
that's a great
will give
idea.
the employees the loan to buy the company.
That's
And then you make it a
awesome.
worker co-op.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that
If we
idea.
could get that proposal through, I think in like 20 years we'd basically be a socialist country because the companies would all mostly.
Well, I think
be
the idea
owned
of
by the
socialism works good
employees.
with an automated AI system.
Yeah, that's why I call myself a techno-communist. Because
Yeah, that makes more sense. Because with like a human socialist, it doesn't work. It just doesn't fucking work.
Right.
Yeah, but if the robots are doing 90% of the work anyway,
Yeah.
then it kind of works. Because
then-
there
Yeah,
aren't
no, I
those
agree.
jobs
I
that
agree
nobody
there.
wants to do anymore.
No, I agree. I agree with that point. Yeah. Also, I think it would give more time for us to do things that we want to do instead of
Yeah,
things
well-
that we have to do.
I also think of how many jobs exist in capitalism that are completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like all
Like a gas
insurance
station
agencies,
worker. Like a gas station.
station worker, any kind of advertisement is a completely worthless.
Fast food.
Yeah, like anything. Well, fast food I can actually see the argument for, but it should be
Okay.
completely automated, and it needs to be healthier.
Well, the
'Cause it doesn't
automated-
have to be junk.
I just
Well,
saw
I'm talking
the
about fast
automated-
food that's like made fast. It's not like a restaurant where you go to like a chef. Well, maybe
But
it's
that's the thing. Is like depending on what you're making. Like I can make you a healthy meal just as fast as McDonald's can.
okay.
I just saw on Shark Tank they have those automated chef food makers now for the house. You want
Yeah,
a burger?
those are
There you go.
expensive, but they're
I
so
know.
nice.
And you're a chef, right? You're a chef, so yeah. Okay. So
Yeah, but it's like the reason that McDonald's is so cheap and processed is because of the manufacturing aspect of it.
well, it's not cheap anymore.
Yeah, it's really not. It should be though. Like what they
There's
pay.
no
Like
dollar
McDonald's
menu, man.
runs. Yeah, McDonald's runs at a 7% food cost, and that's insane. Your
I mean-
average restaurant runs at like 30% food cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
means
because they
they're
just
not
buy
all
crap.
Yeah.
Or if you took out the profit motive, like I don't think there should be a profit motive in anything that is required to live. There shouldn't be a profit motive allowed in healthcare, in housing, in food. Like these
Yeah.
things should just be nationalized.
I agree. I agree.
I agree.
The profit motive makes it to where it's more valuable to kill your customers.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
just a terrible way to run anything.
Yeah, and that's why so many countries aren't trading with us anymore. It's because
Like, did you know China just cured type 2 diabetes?
Really?
Yeah, through stem cell
My dad
research. They
has
got a
type 2
guy like
diabetes. My dad has type
you
2
get like
diabetes.
3 treatments and you're done. No more insulin, nothing. You're completely cured.
Yeah, my dad has type 2 diabetes. So.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that is so beautiful.
Yeah, and America's like, yeah, we're not letting that in our country. Cuba
Well, that's
cured lung
why-
cancer. Cuba has a
that's why-
vaccine for lung cancer.
That's insane.
Well, Magic Johnson went to Europe and his HIV was undetectable. He was there for 5
Right.
years.
Yeah, because
You
he
know?
can afford it though. That's the reason.
Right, but
Yeah.
but the United States said nothing existed. Die, die, die. You know,
Yeah, but why did they make it so hard? It's like it's
because we're capitalists.
I mean, I feel like there's some underlining. It's not really just because of that. I think it has to do with there's something more underlining, more fucking evil behind it.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think there's like a conspiracy of evil men who conspire to
Well, I don't-
harm people. I think it really comes down to capitalism is designed to prioritize profit over everything else.
Yep.
And as long as you make more money off treating sick people than you do curing sick people, in capitalism, they will never come up with cures.
Yep.
Okay, I can see that point.
That's
Like,
why
if-
universal health care is not, on the
Like,
agenda
think
for
about
any of them.
Yeah, if I give you
But
the
also-
cure for type 2 diabetes, I could rather do that, or I could sell you insulin every month for the rest of your life
Right.
Yeah,
At $1,000 a vial.
at $1,000 a vial, which is
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
sense.
That makes sense. That
as
makes
soon
sense.
as if they pass the thing to make it to where insulin only costs $35, then all of a sudden you'll see a cure for diabetes because
Yep.
they'll make more money off the cure.
Yep. 100%.
As
100%.
soon as it's more profitable to cure than it is to treat, then you'll get cures.
100%.
Well, I feel like everybody wants to be profitable. Is that a right statement?
Yeah, that is definitely true.
So,
in
but the
capitalism.
thing is, we have to like figure out a way on how to all be profitable, but at the
We have
same
the way.
time making it
We had it. We
making
had it in
it.
the 60s and 70s. We had it.
Not really.
What?
No.
Well,
Even in the 60s and
because they
70s,
couldn't,
labor
because
was
the regulations they removed, and the rich were still paying tax. The rich were paying taxes and were still super wealthy, but they took
Oh, yeah.
away the regulations on insurance companies and turned all that shit into for profit. Once they started turning, basic services into for profit, that's where. So, like independent wealth, what I mean is like cost of living, affordability, and good quality of life. I guess not so much.
Well, everybody wants passive income right now. That's
Yeah.
the big thing. Like
Yeah.
anybody who has a lot of money, I mean, it's pretty much passive income.
Right.
So the thing is to figure out a way on how to make everybody have the ability to make passive income at the same time using all these jobs that people had that they don't have anymore because of the automated system. Figure out a way on a tax where, I don't know, on how to get that money back from the machines that are doing all the work that they had.
That Greek financier, I forget his name. He's been all over YouTube lately, and I listened to him, and he said we need to start taxing the tech companies that are using our airwaves, a tax every time internet is used in that neighborhood because they're passing through our public airwaves for free. So if we start taxing them based on the usage in our neighborhoods, we could build a universal income for everybody like in a second. And he was describing how, kingdoms ran and were building wealth off of, public properties.
Well, it's kind of like Thomas Paine's idea. People don't realize how far left Thomas Paine was at the founding of this country, but Thomas Paine believed that since no one should ever technically be an owner of the land, because to him land
Right.
is something created, he thought that all property taxes should be collected and then distributed to the masses of the United States people.
I agree with that.
Because that way you're kind of paying rent to the people for owning land.
Yep.
So why
Which
is
is
this not
why-
happening? That's the question.
Because the rich people at the very top of the world didn't. They used Thomas Paine to start the revolution and then completely ignored him when it came to writing the Constitution. Because he was
Sounds pretty American.
He was a full-on abolitionist. He thought black people should have equal rights. He thought women should have equal rights. He was basically a communist before communism was. Thomas Paine was the best founding father we had.
You know what's funny? Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican. That's weird. That's just strange.
Yeah,
How the parties just flipped like completely.
Look, I'm seeing a party switch in my own state, you guys, in Ohio. And the reason why I say that is because, like, again, I'm a government watchdog. What I do, I file complaints and shit, and then it'll go down to the House and legislative floor. We found out in our state that 63% of the police officers were operating illegally for years. And what I mean is they haven't done continuing education classes ever.
That's crazy.
So that makes them illegal. And they also didn't need a high school diploma or a GED until 2011.
Well, you know that there's a bunch of police departments that give IQ tests, and if you're too smart, they won't let you on the force.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so what we found is we got everybody's records, and we filed the complaint, and we sued the state of Ohio. Do you know that it was only boomer Republican legislating women that were helping us write policy and solutions to hold them accountable, and the Democratic women weren't even returning my calls, nor was Sherrod Brown, and Sherrod Brown's always been on our side.
Yeah, the political landscape in America is going through one of its upheavals.
Yeah.
Like every 30
I think it's
to 40
going. I
years
think
in
it's going
America-
into like a mental, just fucking mental illness. To be quite honest.
Well, it's one of those things where if you look at history, like every 30 to 40 years in America, the parties get shaken up. And
They'll switch around or something.
yeah, well, it's not really necessarily like a full-on switch, because certain people join other people, and it goes back and forth. Like, if you go back to like the 1940s, the Republicans were almost more the liberals.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then then they were still for small government, and they were still for lower taxes on rich people. That was still the Democrat thing. So it wasn't like the whole thing switched. It's really weird because and what's going on now with the Trumpers is the Republicans have gotten a hold of the dumb white people base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it used to be, though, that was a pretty strong Democrat base back in the day, like the union workers and all that. And now the Republicans still are anti-union, which is why the union leadership is all Democrat. But then the union workers themselves have all gone dumb, and a bunch of them are supporting Republicans, even though the Republicans don't do anything for them. And it's all because they go to religion churches where their pastor tells them that the Democrats are the devil.
Well, this is the funny thing about a Republican. Like, the universe is pretty much a democracy or a republic, right? But they treat it, but Christians treat it like a fucking monarchy.
Right?
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right.
That's why they're all.
Yeah.
That's why it's all screwed up.
Yeah.
I typed the Greek guy's name down there, Giannis.
Like, if your God is a monarch, then why are you a fucking Democrat or a Republican or?
Well, the church was solely to control the vote. Think about it. I mean, that's why they're freaking out. And we need more church in schools. We need more God. We need the 12 commandments, because we see the truth that it's all bullshit. And it's used to manipulate and control us versus, and don't get me wrong. Some people use it for a spiritual foundation. Beautiful. That's great.
Well, there's some things in the Bible that are
whatever.
nice, but it's just it's basically truth and fiction. That's all it is.
I think it's today's mythology, and they've used it for so long to manipulate the masses. And there was this psychologist in the UK. I listened to him on a podcast, and he said that the difference with Christianity in the United States compared to anywhere else in the world, it's the only area where they teach you that you must forgive your abuser. You must forgive those that harmed you. And it's so damaging to your brain because your immediate reaction is, no, this is wrong. But then you confuse your brain when all of a sudden you're forgiving that person, even though they don't deserve it. And he said that it was originally started with slave masters.
Well, you got to, but to understand forgiveness in the way that they're trying to teach it is, I mean, it doesn't make sense from a superficial point of view.
Forgive yourself.
Well, yeah. Well, forgiving someone else is really forgiving yourself, not forgiving.
Well, then I should say I forgive myself.
Forgiveness really is just letting go of all this hate and all this fucking. Of course, you don't fucking
But
You know,
like, I understand what you're saying, but the psychologist is saying by saying we forgive so and so for their actions, we're confusing our brain, whether you realize it or not. You're letting your brain is saying that that behavior is acceptable because you forgave them. So if it's truly about forgiving yourself, then you should say, I forgive myself for not seeing the signs or whatever it is. Set yourself free, because forgiving them, you don't walk away and the anger's gone. Come on, somebody tell me that's, you know.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But I think that's what they don't say about it.
Right,
that's
right.
That's why they're not clarifying. That's why it's all screwed up.
Right.
In your brain.
It's in your right. And that's why people stay with abusers longer, because each and every time it's more tolerable.
Well,
That's
it's
true.
also why they're so in favor of authoritarianism, because
Exactly.
you have to realize that Christianity had, back when we had feudalism, was used to justify why the king was the king, because the God.
Why
God
did churches
wouldn't
look
have
like
made
courthouses?
Exactly. God wouldn't have made the prince if he didn't want him to be king.
Yeah, and they always and at the pulpit the preacher or the person speaking always has his back toward the crowd because he doesn't want to get stabbed. You know, like that's how it was in the Roman. You know how Caesar got killed. He got stabbed in the back.
Yep. By his own senators.
Mm-hmm. And then they turned Cleopatra into a whore.
Yeah.
Even though that wasn't true, she was the smartest, most powerful person on the planet. But God, no, women can't be powerful. Oh, shit. We got to change this history quick, y'all.
Well, it's also interesting that everybody forgets that she was Greek and not Egyptian.
Right.
But you know what's funny? Like the more people want power, the more they lose it, and the more people
Yep.
give it away, the more they gain it.
Yeah, and see, and that's what she did. She gave away everything. She wanted her people to have knowledge. She let them into the royal library. She believed she walked in the streets with her people, you know, and
She was
and
the
that's,
first of her line to actually speak Egyptian too.
yeah, and
Like,
she
her
spoke like
parents
30
never
different
bothered to learn the
languages.
languages.
Yeah, and that's why she had the true melting pot of the world. She had so many different demographics there from all over. I guess her population was like 7 million people or something for back in that time. And the reason why they didn't go into war with her is because he realized how much power she had. There was no way they could go up against her because the people loved her. So that means they got 7 million fighting back, right? That's why he decided to union with her. So then
That
they
and-
combined the power.
I just when I
That
look at
and
the world
his respect
nowadays.
for Alexander the Great.
Yeah, Alexander
Which
the Great.
she was his great granddaughter. So like, if he would have attacked her, it would have hurt him so much in Rome politically that's why it was better to join with her. Because like people still respected the hell out of Alexander the Great. Like,
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
Yeah, that
And
city,
her-
Alexandria, is like the pulpit
Yeah.
of culture.
Like the library that he built was astonishingly amazing. Even though none of us could ever see it now, which is sad. So it's all just rumors now,
Right.
You can find it on the
I love
internet.
history.
right?
I really want to know what more is in the ocean so bad. What's down there? What can we learn? You know, I know we're still learning stuff every day about different creatures they're finding.
Oh yeah, the ocean's deep and crazy.
There's still tons of shit at the bottom of Lake Superior.
There's a lot of dead mobsters in the Lake Mead.
I'm on Lake Erie. You know what's so funny? When people complain about the border, it pisses me off so bad because here in Cleveland, we have the highest rate of missing children in the country. And the reason why, it's because the boundary waters don't have border patrol. I mean, they do, but it's not, you know, it's the lake. You go 2 miles out into Lake Erie and it's Canada. They have no jurisdiction. And so that's why we have so many missing kids, is because the ports, it's easy. You get over to Canada, boom, you're done. And there's nobody out on the lake, y'all. There's nobody.
And there's no like patrol or anything.
No. They have somebody at the port, but that doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah,
But
there's
out
a
on-
million beaches you can port on before.
Exactly.
You actually go for it.
Exactly. You know, so, you know, we had 45 kids go missing in 1 month. In 1 month. 1 month. Last summer,
That's
last May
That's
2023.
have you seen the numbers of indigenous women that go missing in this
Oh
country?
yeah, I was
It's
a juvenile.
insane. It's like 1 out of every 3.
I never
They're
understood.
going missing?
Yeah,
1 out of 3?
Yeah, I never
More indigenous
understood.
women go missing than any other group of people in the country.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
And
I
since
was in
they're one of
juvenile.
the smallest minorities, that's crazy.
Yep, I was a juvenile detention frequent flyer, and it was in Minnesota, and it was majority indigenous because we have huge reservations up there. And one of the girls I became really good friends with, her name was Jenna. I think we were 14, and she was 13, and I was 14. And we were talking about moms, and she said, "I haven't seen my mom since she was 4 years old. The cops took her, and I never saw her again." And that's just they literally just get taken and they don't see, and that's why kids get scared when they go in the juvenile detention centers because they don't think they're ever going home, and some of them don't.
That's really depressing.
Yeah, and that's in Minnesota, yo.
I lived in Iowa for a little bit, on the border of Minnesota.
Yeah, the numbers are insane when you look at the number of indigenous women.
In Canada,
every
too.
year. Yeah, Canada's got huge problems
Oh
with that too.
God.
Really?
Yeah,
There's a lot of missing people in Canada?
yeah, the indigenous
Really?
women. Yes. Hmm.
I
They
didn't know
found
that.
a graveyard. They found like a trash pit or something with a bunch of the women in there. It was just horrifying.
That's crazy.
Hmm.
I really feel like the world's really misogynist.
It is.
Yeah, it's very much so.
Well, and we've been bamboozled so long by our own government and school and what they teach us and how we're so good to the indigenous people and we sat down and had turkey dinner. What the fuck? No, we didn't. Like,
Yeah, that's
look
such a
how
stupid
crazy
story.
we were. Like, come on. In elementary school, we had Thanksgiving plays every year where we sat down with the indigenous and ate dinner together. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like nobody wants to tell the real story of how.
Right.
One thing I didn't realize is that did you know that by the time Columbus got back after he left the first time, 40% of the indigenous population was dead from disease.
Yeah. Yep, because white people are so dirty they didn't know how to wash their own ass.
And just like smallpox and stuff that he'd introduced, all these diseases that they'd never encountered. And so like when he left and came back, and like they acted like America was empty. It's like, yeah, because you already killed 40% of the population.
Jon Stewart interviewed a
It's
guy
crazy.
about the history of poop, and he said, and he researched pooping, right? This is weird, I know, but he researched pooping, and he discovered that tribes and original, humans for centuries, when somebody's body didn't feel right, the tribe would leave that person behind. If they survived, they could come back. If they didn't, oh well, because they knew when the body was acting out of norm, something was wrong. That's why they didn't have massive disease or anything spreading like that, is because they listened to their bodies.
No, it would suck if you were the guy being left behind.
Right? I think that was Jon Stewart's second episode back. It was very interesting, the guy he was interviewing.
Okay, we're going to leave you here. Have fun.
Good luck.
Right?
Oh,
Oh, you got
Hope you feel
diarrhea?
better.
Hopefully you make it.
you have the coronavirus? Okay, stay here.
Like, hope
See
you
ya.
feel
See you
better.
later.
Good luck.
Take
Right.
a swim in the ocean. You'll feel better. Take a shower.
I think Ohio, though, it was built on very, very, very sacred indigenous grounds, because when you look at all the damn cereal on the libraries that come out of this fucking state that are famous, it's insane. They all come out of Ohio.
I think that's just growing up with nothing to do makes you go crazy.
Or let in the water.
That
I
too.
really feel bad for people living in Ohio. It seems like it's fucking
It's horrible.
polluted like fucking hell. Like,
It is. We're the only fucking state that had the river start on fire twice, but they only talk about the one
you know
time.
that song by Randy Newman, "Burn On"? That's what
Yeah.
it's about.
That's what it's about. Well, do you think
what is
that water's that
Coal
polluted?
Town still has a fire burning under it too, isn't that in Ohio?
That I don't know.
The
I
underground
don't
coal
know.
fire. There's like a town. Maybe it's not Ohio.
Oh, there was a 4.2 earthquake somewhere in the United States. Did you guys see that? I didn't catch what it was.
Yeah, nature's pissed off.
Well, we've
Yeah,
been
they
having
should
little mini earthquakes because of all the fucking fracking that got approved.
I think like everyone thinks, oh, we gotta save
no,
the
it's
planet.
Pennsylvania.
We gotta save ourselves from the planet, because the planet's gonna just be like, fuck you guys, you're
Look,
fucking
when
acting
I
Like
like
George Carlin said it the best. The planet's gonna be
Yes.
fine. The people
Yeah.
are fucked.
Yep.
yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He had it
Yeah,
all
the
right on point.
Centralia mine is a fire that's been burning since 1962 in
Jesus Christ.
Centralia, Pennsylvania, and it's still on fire.
What? How can it still be on fire, man?
It's coal. It's an underground coal mine.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like
It's
a
been on
forest
fire
mine.
since 1962.
It's a coal mine, so
Yeah, the town had to be completely abandoned, and it's just still burning.
You know, there's a town in Ohio. It's 30 minutes southeast of me. It's called Boston. Is it Boston Heights? In 1976, I think it was, on December 26th, the government came in, evacuated everybody, and closed off like 200 acres of land. And nobody's allowed to go back since. There's all sorts of crazy stuff on it. 4 teenagers went out there in 2016 and only one came back. And they are not allowed to speak on it and have signed all these contractual agreements with the United States government.
did you hear about the population in like Mount Shasta, California? Or is it?
No. Mm-mm.
There's an underground civilization or something.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, but I don't know if it's a myth.
Well,
or-
I mean, they have underground civilization in South America and China. It's just nobody's living in it. They found it. I wouldn't doubt it. Especially if something was here, when we were Pangea.
But no, I heard like it's like a living civilization.
Oh, like people are living in it?
Yeah, like they
Oh.
just come out of the blue.
Like
of
the
nowhere.
Matrix?
Yeah, it's like they're like. I don't know if it's true or not.
Is it Boston Heights or Brooklyn Heights? No, Boston Heights, I think it is. Broadview Heights. No. Damn it. It's called Helltown, though. In all the documentaries. They say some creature lives out there. There's these
Yeah,
weird
Silent Hill was based on the coal town in Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
The Hill Have Eyes?
No, the Silent Hill video game.
Oh, okay.
I used to have to drive for a previous job when I had first moved to Ohio, and I had half of Pennsylvania, a little sliver of West Virginia, all of Ohio, part of Kentucky as my territory. And I got lost down at the corner of West Virginia and Pennsylvania. There was no fucking streetlights, and no matter what I did with my GPS, it kept taking me in a circle. I couldn't get out. It was almost like something was pulling me in a circle, like, some sort of mineral or something there, because it was around all the different old mining places, but it was terrifying.
Yeah, that over there, it scares the shit out of me. I lived in Kentucky. That area, just like that whole, it's just, I've been to West Virginia, and it's just like that area just scares the shit out of me.
No, there is something about the woods that give me the heebie-jeebies when you're in the
No,
middle
I
of
just
nowhere.
get scared on the east side, like the east, like whatever that area is called, like eastern, south. I don't know.
We have huge Amish territory, so there's not cell phone service through half the state. So you're driving through these areas by yourself, and you get lost, and there's no cell service. Don't take me back to 1999 on the freeway during a blizzard. Fuck. That was Minnesota. You were trained for that shit.
Yeah.
I
I remember.
have to get off here. I gotta go to bed, guys.
All right, have a good
Awesome,
night, man.
Thank you. It was
Take
fun.
care.
It's fun talking to everybody.
All right,
Have
have a
to
good
do
night.
this more often.
Yeah, it was fun.
I like your videos, man.
Yes.
Thanks, man.
All right. Bye.
Good night, everybody.